Basketball doesn't last forever, but the lessons do. I'm Nick Crossan, owner of EBC Training Centers, and this is Purpose Over Points, a podcast filmed inside EBC, the heart of Washington's premier training center. Purpose Over Points stands apart from your traditional basketball podcasts by blending coaching education, mentorship, storytelling, and the importance of family and community connection. It's not just about developing athletes, it's about developing people. Here we talk about life after basketball and what happens when the points stop adding up and the real scoreboard becomes your character, your purpose, and your growth. Welcome to another episode of Purpose Over Points. I'm your host, Nick Crossan. Today I got someone that's extremely special in my heart. He has a big piece of my heart. I love him dearly. Everybody is going to be extremely honored to hear his story. He'll have a ton of wisdom coming behind it. Aaron Nettles. Aaron Nettles grew up in Sammamish, Washington, in a close-knit, family-centered home, alongside with his sisters, Brianna and Kayla, and his brothers, Nathan and Michael. Surrounded by sports from a young age, he developed a deep passion for competition, teamwork, and leadership that shaped the course of his life. At Seattle Prep, Aaron became one of the program's all-time greats, scoring over 1,300 career points and surpassing NBA veteran Spencer Hawes on the school's scoring list. He went to earn a full-ride Division I scholarship to Seattle University, where he played 4 years of collegiate basketball and built the foundation for his career beyond the game. Today, Aaron serves as the Chief Marketing Officer and Private Training Coordinator at EBC Training Centers, a premier youth basketball organization he runs alongside his sisters and brother. Through his work as a coach, trainer, and leader, Aaron is dedicated to making an impact on the next generation of athletes, helping them develop their skills, confidence, and character both on and off the court. Please welcome my brother, Aaron Nettles. What's up, baby?
Thanks for having me, bro.
Anytime. On that intro, I do have to just brag about him. He is someone that, again, yes, he carries deep in my heart, but I have learned so many lessons from this man. Yeah, he is 27, I'm 35. It doesn't matter what age you are, you can consistently grow from anybody. And I'm very blessed that, he's my brother, but I get to see him every single day in his walk, and I'm excited to share his journey. Aaron, let's just start you from the beginning. What was young Aaron like, and when did basketball become more than just a game for you?
I think I was always surrounded by sports. Growing up in Sammamish, it was a very perfect cookie cutter neighborhood. Go to the park, play with friends, a little bit what more kids need now. But basketball was something that I ultimately just fell in love with. And kudos to my parents. I loved it. And new pair of basketball shoes, I'm sleeping in them. Anytime I get a chance to get outside, I'm going to the courts. It was really self-driven for me. And then I had a father who was able to nurture that love. And he was real with me, he was hard on me, but at the end of the day, I wanted it. And I can remember since I was young enough to walk that basketball was meant for me. And I played a little bit of baseball, played a little bit of soccer, but basketball was something that was in my heart from as early as I could possibly remember.
Absolutely. What shaped you the most from ages 6 to 10 years old?
I think a lot of my early childhood memories were with my brothers and sisters. And like I said, sports were at the forefront of our household, and watching Brianna's games, being on the sidelines, watching my dad work her out, I was kind of just getting anxious and excited for my opportunity to when I was going to be able to play on that big stage that, was a basketball court. And dealing with the adversity of life in the household, basketball also was a little bit of an outlet. And it was something that I could get outside of that house and just go dribble a basketball down the street, and the noise would just shut off. And for me, it was something that brought me so much joy and peace and content. And I can remember as early as kindergarten, getting off the bus, coming home, and there was nothing I wanted to do more than to just go to the park and shoot. And it was something that just brought me joy.
Yes. I've known Aaron since he's been 6, and one of the most beautiful things about him is You can tell he's very authentic and he's real. He has a smile that just brightens up a room. He has energy, and he's had that since he's been 6, since the day I met him. He's got this huge smile. He's full of life, and it's one of many things I've learned from you on a daily basis. Was there a moment early where you realized that you were just different in your mindset at a young age?
I do know that I carried a different perspective than most, and whether it was from a positive place or a negative place, I was very observant. And growing up in Sammamish, in a predominantly white neighborhood, in a predominantly white elementary, middle school, I noticed I was different on the outside looking in. But I also noticed I had a little bit more of a broader perspective than most. And there was some challenges, some adversity in the house. There was my dad being able to take me to White Center when I'm in 2nd grade and I'm playing on a 4th grade AAU team, and I'm, hey, watch where you're going, always check in with me. Situations that kind of got me outside of that, Sammamish bubble, so to speak. And it allowed me to have a little bit more knowledge about the world. So when I came back to Sammamish, or when I went to Krista McAuliffe Elementary School, everyone's kind of living in their bubble, and I'm able to kind of understand a little bit more how the world works and be a little bit more observant of everything. And I've always been someone who's super conscious of other people's feelings, wherever that may stem from. So it's, I want others to feel good around me. I want to brighten their day. I want to be the person that they look at, that they're like, oh, I'm really, really happy to see him. And I can remember that when I was from 1st to 6th grade, is I always wanted to make the classroom feel good. And it was, a lot of getting in trouble for talking when I wasn't supposed to be talking. But a lot of it was me just trying to shift the energy in the room to be a little bit more positive than it was.
Absolutely. You said something I think that's extremely important for people to hear, especially people from the East Side, being half African American, being different than your typical, Caucasian person that is majority of what it is on the East Side. Can you touch just a tiny bit on that? Because I think it's important for people to understand what that bubble is. For myself growing up in it, it is a bubble. But I think people need to hear kind of the other side of it and kind of what it was like for you growing up and being that kind of in those different situations.
Yeah, I think for me, it's always a personal journey, regardless of, if you're Black, Latino, white, whatever it may be. You kind of have this, I don't know, chip on your shoulder a little bit. And for me, it was always that. And, there's always moments where you kind of understand that make you think like, oh, is this person judging me because I'm Black, or is it, their predisposition to certain things? I had a positive experience growing up in Sammamish.
Exactly.
And my dad held me to a high standard of, you talk like this, you stick your chest out, you look people in the eye. I was very, very respectful. But there was a little bit of baggage with me, like that I carried in terms of being Black in Sammamish. Like it never felt great to be the only person that was Black inside of a classroom of 25 kids. And, that carried into middle school of like, every time I see a Black person, you can point us all 6 of us out inside the whole middle school. But also the challenge I faced when I was able to go to Seattle or hang out with these people, it was like, oh, you're the Black kid from Sammamish.
Yeah.
So I had a level of, when I'm in Sammamish, I'm not the white kid. And when I'm in, Seattle, I'm the Black kid from Sammamish.
Yes.
And so there was a level of embracing it. And I didn't have to struggle. I grew up in a very affluent neighborhood. My dad worked, and my mom and dad worked their asses off to get to where they were. And, I had every new basketball shoe you could possibly think of. I didn't have to worry about certain things. I could walk to Safeway, and it was a safe neighborhood. And I don't take those things for granted. And as I got older, I embraced it because it isn't anything to be ashamed about. You do deal with the whole judgment a little bit when you're in those neighborhoods, when you're in those nice establishments, when you're going into big houses, when you walk into a room and you see, a group of 15 to 20 people and none of them look like you.
Right.
And you kind of have to stick your chest out and be confident in that. And, at the age of 27, it's definitely something I'm very, very proud of, regardless of whatever room I go into.
Yeah.
But as a kid, it is a little bit confusing. And having those role models and surrounding yourself with love allowed me to get through it. And
Absolutely.
when I was younger, I had people, and anyone in my circle was boosting me up. There was no one tearing me down, and I protected that pretty well.
I want to stay in your kind of youth era for just a little bit longer. Tell me about before you step on a high school basketball court. Tell me about the young Aaron, what you did to prepare yourself for high school. Give me some examples of some situations that you've gone through, good or bad. It can be both, or whatever you want to share on those things about your development process. And we have a lot of young kids, young girls, young boys that are definitely, they look up to you, they listen to you, and looking from the outside in, from watching you and being there, seeing you grow, there's a lot of differences that you went about your day at a young age that you don't really see too much of right now. Talk about kind of like what that was for you.
Yeah, I knew at an early age basketball was it. Like, I can remember from being the young kid watching Kobe on TV, like I wanted to play in the NBA. So there was nothing forced from my parents, my dad specifically, but there was a conversation at a very, very early age from my father of, is this what you want to do? Do you understand what it's going to take? And a lot of trust in me, like trusting him in terms to get me to where I wanted to get to. And it required working out every single day. It required blood, sweat, and tears. It required fights and screaming matches between me and my father. And it was never a force. It was, I wanted to get to where I wanted to get to. So I simply had to follow the regiment to get there. And it was getting picked up right after school and going to get my work in. And I can remember from as early as third grade of like, hey, I'm getting picked up from school. I'm not taking the bus home. You're going to the gym. And I was in a very, very, very blessed position to have a basketball gym at an early age. And my dad starting EBC when I was in sixth grade, there was no excuse.
Yeah.
And it was, you're going to the gym. And it was, I'm going to put my work in, and then the fun comes later. And I think I've kind of carried that into my life now of, you got to put the work in. And obviously discipline over motivation, because I promise you there was a lot of times when I battled him and I battled the idea of, do I really want this?
Yeah.
And I had the discipline to show up when I didn't want to show up. And I credit that to where I was able to get to, where I got to.
Absolutely. I think you need to give yourself a ton of credit, but also grace, because you're in sixth grade. You're on the east side. You have a father who's phenomenal. He's pushing you. He's driving you. You have a great relationship. Yeah, it's not perfect. Nothing's perfect. But you get held at in sixth grade with this accountability of like, not necessarily from your family, but from outside peers. They look at you like, oh, he better make it. He's got a gym. There's no excuses for him. So I think there's like a lot of credit that you need to give yourself, because just because you have a gym doesn't mean it's guaranteed. You still have to wake up early. You still have to do the late nights. You still have to put all that work in that you're talking about. Talk about that, because I know for a fact, just from outside people that I've heard, that they paint that picture on you, that you are this kid that's got some kind of perfect life. You got a gym. He's on the east side. Seattle people, the moment like you talked about, right? There's not that like respect factor quite yet until you put the work in and you go on the court and you bust their ass. Then you get that respect. But talk about that. I think that's something I think really important for people to hear, because that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I think the pressure was definitely felt, especially at an early age. But the one thing I do have to credit my dad to is there was no harder pressure than the one he put on me.
Yeah.
And so thankfully, as a sixth grader, I would say, let's say sixth grade through high school, like I didn't really hear that noise.
Yeah.
And it was because I was so focused and I was so driven on what my goal was. But I did let that affect me a little bit, just in terms of, you're a young kid and like, you have a gym, and it felt like it was expected. And, I deal with it today. It's my accomplishments felt muted.
Yes.
And that was a little bit more difficult as I unpacked it in later years. But it was okay, you made this AAU team. Of course I made the AAU team. There was no other option.
Right.
You make varsity as a freshman. Yeah, that's what was supposed to happen. You score this many points. Yeah, that was supposed to happen. I got a Division I scholarship. It was supposed to happen in my head.
Yeah.
And so for me, if I were to go back and tell my younger self a little bit more something, it was to relish those accomplishments a little bit longer. And, the whole what you're referring to as in terms of you have the gym, it's expected. It's like, yeah, I felt that. I felt like wherever I got to, it was supposed to happen because there was no plan B, there was no plan C. It was, you get this done and then you move what's next.
Yeah.
And I've had to rewire my thinking in that a little bit of like, no, you do need to celebrate it. And if you can't celebrate it, and if you can't feel the happiness, the joy, the accomplishment within yourself, it doesn't matter what anyone else says about you. And words feel good and people saying, hey, good job here and all of that. But if it's not your internal voice, it's not gonna matter because that ultimately is the loudest thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's fast forward to high school. You got through the youth, you're killing it, things are great. You go to Seattle Prep High School, obviously throws a ringer, right? On the east side, people are probably thinking you're going to East Lake because you live in their boundaries, but you make this decision to go to Seattle Prep. In my opinion, the best decision you could have made. Kudos again to your family and to your father and to your mother. It's not an easy thing, it's a sacrifice for everybody. You became one of the top players in your class. What did people not see behind the scenes?
Especially the moment I turned 16 was a big moment in my life. Just the ability to move as an adult. And again, kudos to my parents. They steered me in the right direction because the level of freedom I have once I turned 16 was probably a larger amount of freedom than I'm gonna give my own kid.
Yeah.
But I had my head on straight and I knew what my goals were. And so, like I said, I got to play varsity as a freshman. That was expected. But what people didn't see was I'm up at 6 a.m., jump roping in the garage because my dad's checking on me and I'm eating a peanut butter jelly sandwich and a protein shake because that's what I had to do. And, that was the direction, that was the blueprint. And it was right after school, I'm going to work out with my dad, right after school, and credit to him to be able to put me through that. And then it was, okay, 10 p.m. at night, I have my own gym, I'm going to the gym.
Yes.
And I got to shout out, my brother Jordan. It was us two. And, me and him and Colin being able to lean on each other. And ultimately, it was us and it wasn't the party.
Yes.
It was us and it wasn't this. It was Friday nights in the gym. It was Saturday nights in the gym. It was, I have a goal and I'm going to get there. And I have the people around me that allow me to do it, including my father, including my mother, including you, including Brianna. I had a family and I had a circle that they knew my goals and they watered it and they allowed me to do it. And I was blessed to be able to have a car to go to the gym whenever I wanted. But it was real work. It was,
absolutely.
It was every single day of my life from the moment I was, 6th grade. And in high school, it only got harder. And there were times of doubt. There were times of me questioning, like, do I really want to do this? Because this is difficult. But the discipline that was instilled in me, and the thing I credit all the time when I tell people what allowed me to get there was I worked out when I didn't want to.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And that was
huge.
like, simply put, that has gotten to me to where I've gone now. Like, regardless of if I want to do it or not, I'm going to do it because I said I wanted to get there. And in order to get there, I got to do this. And that was the behind the scenes.
Yes. That leads me to, you kind of touched on it already, but did you ever in high school, and not only just high school, just in general, did you question your love for the game? And could you give us some, or an example of maybe of a situation that sticks out to you vividly where you're like, man, I don't want to do this. I am not quite sure if this is it for me, but you pushed through and then you saw, oh my God, I can do this.
Yeah, there was always a level of, do I want to do this? As humans, we have emotions, and it sucks to get up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
when you're in high school. Like, it sucks to run miles every day after class when my dad is sitting there with his stopwatch. It sucks to do those things. And in those moments, it was easy to question. But the fruits of the labor were always there. Being a freshman on varsity was sick.
Yes.
You know, hitting a game winner in my second game ever as a freshman and having my name in the Seattle Times was sick. And like, those moments don't come without the BS that you're dealing with. And I think for me, it was like those accomplishments that I did have, the fruits of the labor that I was seeing outweighed, you know, the hard parts of it all. I would say in college, just to answer your question, there was a moment where I was like, this might not last forever.
Yeah.
And there was I'll never forget, I think it was my junior year of college, off season. I texted Colin, you know, we'd grown up playing together. Absolutely. It was me and him were tied like this. He went to UC Irvine, I went to Seattle U. He's in college, I'm in college, we're both on the same regiment. I texted him and I said, you ever felt burnt out? And he said, what do you mean? I said, do you ever feel like you want to stop? And he said, all the time, but why come this far just to come this far? And I remember sitting down in EBC in the gym and he sent me that and I was like, why come this far just to come this far? And it's like, I'm gonna go until the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if I love it or not. It doesn't matter if, you know, it feels like a job, because it very much felt like a job. I said I was gonna do this and why stop now?
It's powerful. Proud of you. I mean, I'm proud of you in many ways, but that's seeing this journey from a distance again and just seeing the things that you've gone. It's been absolutely amazing to see how you carry yourself. It's powerful. I love you and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you, I love you too.
I saw you during those years. And again, I'm talking from your youth to high school. We'll talk about college in a minute. You carried a lot. Again, like, you've shared so much wisdom right now. And there's a lot that's going on in your life. There's a lot of expectations. There's pressure. There's love. There's a nice balance of things going on. Can you tell us, like, maybe what was going on inside of Aaron Nettles? What was going on inside you?
Yeah.
During those times?
I think as I unpack a lot, you know, after, you know, the ball stopped bouncing, you get to understand and kind of reflect on like what's gotten you to where you are now and the personal journey and the self-reflection and the healing that needs to be done and the rewiring of certain thought patterns that you felt you had to show and to protect yourself.
Yeah.
I didn't do it necessarily the right way. And, you know, coming from a very dysfunctional household, for lack of a better word, and like the details can be spared, but there was a lot of dark things that happened in my childhood in terms of environment.
Yeah.
And, you know, being the kid in the room downstairs, hearing the storm that's going on in the house was always something I numbed. And there was never a moment where I felt like I could talk about it. Especially at a young age. You know, now obviously you have the tools, you have the people, you have the outlets. But from ages, you know, 12 to 18, it was stuff. I'm gonna go hoop. It was when I turned 16, it was like the storm in the house. I don't wanna hear this. I'm going to the gym. Hey, Jordan, let's go hoop. Hey, Colin, what are we doing tonight? Like, it was very much so I'm getting away from it rather than dealing with it. And I think over time, the armor that I was putting around myself was getting, you know, chipped a little bit until it finally kind of broke. And it was like, oh, I've had all these things over the past years that I haven't necessarily faced head on. And I haven't let anyone know that I've been dealing with it for so long. That it kind of broke me a little bit in terms of at the end of, you know, when the ball stopped bouncing. But I was carrying a lot. Like if I could give advice to that person, if I could give advice to my young self, it's like, let that shit out because it's not gonna go anywhere. Yeah.
Awesome. So now we're in college. You're at Seattle U. You signed a full ride scholarship. Sophomore year, you did that in high school, your sophomore summer. Which is, again, a ton of credit to you, because that's unheard of. A lot of people do not make that decision right away.
They don't get a first offer and go, right? We live in this era where they want to stack offers. They want to stack even interest. They want to post interest and offers. And you had a ton of schools that wanted you. Seattle U and Cameron Dollar were on it right away. I was blessed to be able to coach you and alongside great players I'll never be able to coach like again. Players that made me who I am today. Those guys had your back. You guys all loved each other. It was special. It was really special. Talk about that decision that made you go, okay, Seattle U is the place. I don't care if I have 4 or 5, 6 other options right now. I know it's quote unquote early, but for Aaron Nettles, this is right. Can you talk about what made that decision that way?
Yeah, I think that moment, that summer in Anaheim sticks out to me because I was with the people I loved. And it was, I continue to shout out Colin and Jordan. They were on the team at the time.
Yeah.
You're there, my sister, my mom, my dad, and it felt very surreal to feel that. And I'll never forget the game. I remember hitting like 7 threes and like going to the trash can and throwing up, and then going back in the game and like hitting more threes. And I remember Dollar on the sideline, and I remember him calling me like right after that game and being like, hey, we want you. And I remember being like, thank you, I just need a second to talk to my dad. And it was my first official offer, and I only was 16. And I had all these other schools, like the Idahos, the Portland, the UC Davis, the Irvines, because Colin, obviously. And me and Colin are navigating this recruiting in like a little bit of a different landscape than now. And I remember talking to my dad about it, and there was no I had thought my whole life, like, this is the moment that we worked for, like, this is the moment that we worked for. And I thought for sure he was gonna be like, have some crazy advice and stand strong in what he wants for me. And he was like, hey, let me paint a picture for you. And I'll never forget our conversation because he said, let me paint the picture for you. You're at home, you're with your family is watching you playing. You are able to write a story about yourself that not many kids can write. And it's your story. The kid that went to Seattle Prep, the kid that went straight to Seattle U and stayed home and stayed loyal to the city and to the programs that he's been a part of. And I never transferred high schools. I never transferred AAU teams. Now I'm going to Seattle U and I'm able to play Division I basketball in the town that kind of raised me. And I sat with it. I think I sat with it for an hour, and I was just like, this is it. This is it. Awesome. There is something you can wait for. There's always going to be something you can wait for, but this is going to be my story. And that's ultimately what led me to just say like, no, I'm rocking. And especially something to note, especially about high school kids, in their recruiting landscape of advice, it's like, Dollar wanted me. Seattle U wanted me, and they made that obvious in the relationship I was able to build with him after, even to this day, like seeing him a couple of days ago, it's like, that's someone who cares about who I am, regardless of my, basketball skill set.
Absolutely. I do want to shout out Coach Dollar because that was, he cared about you because even with all the athletes that I've seen or we've had in our program that we've coached, mentored, the moment they signed, you don't see that coach anymore. But Coach Dollar was in that seat. There was not
every
a game
summer
he missed. He was in every single game. So I think for young kids listening, I think they need to understand how important that is. That finding that coach that really cares about you it's impressive with that. What shocked you the most when you arrived at a Division I school? You're at Seattle U. You just had a senior. You're done with high school. You step on a Division I basketball court at Seattle University. What was the most shocking thing for you?
Yeah, I think it's important to note how things transpired in terms of, I signed my letter of intent, Coach Dollar gets fired. I'm in a scenario in which I don't know what's going on. Jim Hayford and Chris Victor come to the school. They came to my high school the day they were going to talk at Seattle U, the day they got hired. And they're like, look, hey, we know who you are. We've watched you, we want you. And that was important for me to go somewhere where I was still wanted. And I was the only freshman. But that environment, my first year was like, they're building from scratch. It's ground zero. It's new staff, whole new staff. We have 3 grad transfers. Josh Hurley, who's 25. You have Jordan Hill, he's 24. Rashad Giddens, he's 23. And I'm 18.
Right.
and I'm stepping onto that court playing one-on-one defense, trying to guard someone who's 24 years old. And, there is, an insecurity with like, oh shit, like I might not be as good as I thought I was. And I think that's normal. And I think it's important to note that it is normal. You are 18, this is your first experience, but ultimately you hold yourself to a really high standard. So I'm pissed off and I'm working my ass off even more than I ever have as soon as I step on that floor. But it's all the things you can't control in a way. It's all the physicality. Like, I'm a small guard, No one can shoot like me on the team, so that I hold strong in that, that confidence. But it's I'm small. I'm not a man yet in terms of basketball size. And so that was a huge eye opener stepping on a college court. For sure.
Absolutely. Did you ever feel overlooked, underestimated, or just flat out misunderstood during your time at Seattle U?
Yeah, I think I felt a little bit overlooked. I think that there was a level of understanding amongst my coaching staff with me in terms of what I was capable of. I think that some of the things that might have brought me frustration were things out of my control. I love coaching basketball now because now I can go back and understand that. And a lot of kids need to hear this, is like, no one's out to get you. And no one is not wanting you to play. And coaches aren't taking things personal. And there is disagreement amongst what I'm thinking and feeling at the age of 19 as opposed to my 45-year-old coach who's won 300 games. And I think a lot of that can kind of get lost in translation a little bit. But I had confidence and that helped me. I carried a chip on my shoulder a little bit, and being the 5'11" guard who comes off the bench as a freshman and as a sophomore, and them not really worried about me until I hit 3 threes in the first 3 possessions I touched the ball. And, as a sophomore, shooting 47% from the 3-point line in the first 15 games is like, there were things that I was like, no, this is me, I'm here, that I carried a little bit, with that confidence. And then going through the years, sophomore, junior, senior year, seeing the court more, getting more comfortable, there was always gonna be a level of like, I never wanted to come out of the game.
Of course, you're a competitor.
And
of course.
Then you kind of gotta reflect and break down, okay, their smallest guard is 6'5". Why would I be in the game? And like, as a basketball mind, you start to think matchups and you start to think about things and you understand a little bit more. So as you think back of like, oh, okay, there wasn't anything personal. You create these narratives in your head of like, man, F my coach, he doesn't get me. And then it's like, no, what can I control? I'm gonna go in the game and I'm gonna do my job, and my strength is to shoot and control the game and talk on defense and be the best teammate. And the reputation that I had, I was loved. And I was loved. And it's the reason why I can go to Seattle U now and feel the love that I do feel from them, is because like I controlled what I could control, and I was, the best possible version of myself, regardless of the adversity that I was facing.
Absolutely. What's a story from Seattle U that shaped you that most people don't know about you?
There's a couple. There was a lot of animosity in terms of, the head coach having to leave, getting fired for some things that we can leave out, but like ultimately he wasn't a great person, in my opinion. And like, huge shout out to Chris Victor, the current head boys coach, just in terms of like him always being there for me during my years. The just absolute like blood, sweat, and tears that you share with the brothers that you're going to war with every day. The behind the scenes, the locker rooms, the long talks, the road trips, everything. There's so many things that have shaped me who I am today. And going through that journey, I think the end of my career was something that was like that one thing that has made me the man I am today. And it was my last year, my senior year was COVID. And so, you're playing with no fans. Was playing really well, shooting it really well, had a good season. Right before conference tournament, fractured my thumb. I'm out 3 games, and it's like, my career is over. Got some good news. that I was going to be able to come back for a COVID year. They granted the 5th year. Coach gets fired, Coach Vic steps in. And best news, I'm excited. I'm a 5th year senior. The game is extremely slow at this point.
Yeah.
I'm a captain. I came off of a season averaging 10 points. I was ready to, really, really, really make a statement in that 5th year. Was dealing with some Achilles tendonitis, happened over the summer, went to go get surgery. The athletic trainer at the time advised that I get this surgery that would allow me to get through a little bit of the pain. And if not, it would just kind of stay where it's at. Ended up getting the surgery they advised, got out of surgery, not really able to walk, gave it some time, not able to walk, give it some time, can't run, give it some time, meet with the doctor. They say, there is a possibility that you may have had an adverse reaction to the surgery. And so there is like the moment for me of like, what do you mean? Like, this isn't what you said. There's the frustration, there's the, dad meeting with the Seattle youth staff. Hey, what the hell happened? You told me it was gonna be this, it's not this. This happens in surgery. There's a little bit of more animosity going on with the direction I was forced in, to be honest. Game goes by, practice goes by. I'm still in a walking boot, and it's kind of starting to settle in like I'm missing my last season. And I'll never forget the game. We're playing our Climate Pledge. It's my first game back. I'm playing through extreme pain, thinking that like, it's not gonna get worse, it's not gonna get worse. I remember getting subbed in. I remember hitting the 3, making it, and taking off to guard somebody, and I just was like, I can't move. I got subbed out that night, just in tears, broken, thinking that like the thing that I had so much of my identity in was like slowly drifting. And it wasn't necessarily like a moment of like it stopped and I can move on. It was like it's slowly getting away from me. Like my career, everything that I've ever worked for is like slowly going away from me. And that was hard to face.
Absolutely.
And now it's funny, I tell people that story and I tell them like, that was the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Yes.
And the uniqueness and like, God understanding that I have a bigger plan in place for my life. I was able to go through the hardest time of my life, still surrounded by my brothers, my teammates, my coaches. I'm on every road trip. I'm doing everything. Yeah, I'm not able to play in games. But at the end of the day, you brought in your perspective. It's like, I'm flying across the country for free. I'm getting stipends to eat free food. I'm getting fed. I'm with my brothers. I have a courtside seat to watch the people that I sweat with, cry with. Blood couldn't make us any closer. And that year, even though I wasn't playing, was like the most fulfilling for me. Because I knew where my impact was. I knew the love that I had from my teammates. And I was able to graduate when the season was over, having gone through that valley of my identity crisis, of what happens when the ball stops bouncing. And I couldn't have been more excited for the next chapter.
Yes. So we talk about this, right? That's a big thing about why we have purpose over points, is the basketball does stop bouncing for all of us, but it's hard. And so give us some things that helped you rebuild that confidence when the ball stopped bouncing. Because like you said, this is tragic for you. This is hard. Like, this is a different type of hard though. This is not waking up early and getting to the gym. This is like, oh no, this ball is flat now. I'm not quite sure what life's gonna be like for me exactly, when you have known what it's gonna be like for you for so many years. How did you regain confidence in who you were and what you wanted to do?
That's a great question. For me, it was unique in the sense that I was able to step into a scenario that a lot of people are not. And I have to acknowledge my opportunity and my purpose were aligning in a way that just made too much sense. And being involved and watching you and Brianna operate and run EBC, and me looking at it from a distance of like, I belong there. Who I am as a person adds immense value to that. and who I am as a person is going to help take that even further.
Absolutely.
And that's where I was excited.
Yeah.
And that's where I had stepped into, and that's where I was embraced. And ultimately, the confidence or lack of confidence didn't last very long, because I was able to add so much knowledge, and I was able to add such an impact in such a short amount of time.
Yes.
And I'm just like beyond grateful for you. I'm beyond grateful for Brianna in allowing me to live this extremely blessed lifestyle that I do live, of impacting the next generation, and, you know, having this bus and being able to take it wherever I want, whenever I want to. And it's just been kind of a movie. And I joke about, you know, I am in my dream life. Like, if I could paint the picture of what I really, really want, it's like I am beyond excited to get up in the morning and do what I do.
Yes.
And I think that's very rare.
Extremely
and I think
rare.
it's important to note that that's how I do feel every single day.
Absolutely. We also talk about the scoreboard. You've won a lot of basketball games. You've lost games, but you've won a lot more than you've lost. Like you've already expressed throughout this entire interview about all the steps it takes to win the scoreboard in that particular basketball game, right? The practices, the little things, the brotherhood that you talk about with your teammates. That scoreboard is flashing, the lights are extremely bright, but again, they dwindle down and they start to come into life. It's a different type of flashing scoreboard now. This is life now. And talk about where you at with your life and your scoreboard right now. I think you've already talked a little bit, but I think there's more to it about where you're at, particularly in the moment with Aaron Nettles.
I think ages 23 onwards, you know, I would say from, you know, my next 4 years after college, from 23 to 27, have been the most transformative for me. To relate it to basketball, it's really hard. And something I've noticed now is it's not necessarily the getting up in the morning is hard. It's I want to grow and I want to be successful. And I want to be the very best version of myself. In order to do that, I need to work on my emotional intelligence. I need to water my relationships. I need to show up for myself. I need to do the work to heal and to rewire myself and, you know, negative thought patterns. That's really hard.
Yes.
And I don't think that's talked about enough. And it is difficult, but, you know, the fruits of that labor are peace and it's contentment and it's love and it's healthy relationships, including the one with yourself. And I think for me now, I've realized like my definition of success is a healthy mind.
Yeah.
And giving myself grace and understanding that I have nothing figured out.
Yeah.
And I've been reading as many self-improvement books as you possibly can, listening to certain podcasts, but none of that external stuff is ever gonna fix the internal voice that I have in my head.
Yeah.
And the only way that I'm gonna be able to fix that is through the work that I do.
Yes.
And I've realized that that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Is I'm on a mission to fix and continue to water and nurture the relationship that I have with myself.
That's beautifully said. And I think it's huge for everyone to hear that, because I think it's such a lost art, especially right in today's climate. People are constantly comparing and they're constantly trying to chase something that's not them.
Yeah.
And they're not spending that time to dive into themselves, and especially in a leadership role that you're in. Like we always talk about this, if you're not diving in yourself, there's no way you can go out there and lead others.
Yeah.
That is one of, again, many things that I look up to you about and that you do. You constantly are trying to dive into who Aaron Nettles is. You're trying to self-improve, whether it's mentally, physically, whether it's nutrition. There's so many different ways to help yourself. Can you just give us a little bit about what your current routine is when it comes to diving into yourself? What are some things that you do?
Yeah, I think that's one thing I think like COVID had helped all of us with, was just that time where you're stuck in the house and you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And you're building these perfect routines in a world that's not really real. I think I struggle with that to this day.
Absolutely.
I think there's, you know, the perfect routine of I wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm drinking my electrolytes and I'm cooking a breakfast, and then I'm working out, and then I'm reflecting, and I'm journaling, and then I'm meditating, and then all these things that I feel like I need to do in order to be the best version of myself. I think the one thing that has helped me now is giving myself grace and not having to have the perfect routine.
Yes.
I know that when I eat healthy, I feel my best.
Yes.
I know that I'm gonna work out to feel my best.
Right.
I know that I need to get off my phone in order for me to mentally feel my best. I know that I need to pour love into those around me, including myself, in order for me to feel my best. So as long as I'm checking those boxes on a day-to-day, I know those wins are gonna stack up over time.
For sure.
And so getting rid of the rigidity of my structured day has helped a lot. If I sleep for 4 hours, I might sleep a little bit more. If I can get to bed early, I'll get up. But I'm always making sure I'm, hydrating myself. I'm always making sure that I'm trying to eat as clean as possible. And I'm gonna try and work out and or run every day if I can.
Yeah.
And I know those 3 things are gonna help me be the best version of myself.
Yes.
And as long as I'm checking those 3 boxes, that's my routine.
Absolutely. And I think the beautiful thing, one of the things that you talk about, or you just said, was when people do try to find their routine, right? They constantly think it has to be perfect. I know I struggle with that. When you don't do it perfectly, you feel like I can't do this, or this is maybe not the routine for me. But the ability to, again, self-reflect and go, you know what? Yeah, I wasn't perfect today, but guess what? I still get a lot of things that help me. And tomorrow I get to wake up and reset myself.
Do it again,
or, those reset moments. Where does your self-awareness come from?
I'm not sure. I think to bring it all the way back to your very first question or second question of when did you know you were special, I think there was a level of self-awareness in me at an early age. I think that whether it stemmed from the negative environment of the household and I had to kind of stuff my emotions or think critically and not have really an outlet and understand myself, I think, self-awareness was built over time.
Yes.
I think just kind of the thirst for knowledge helps too.
Yeah.
And I think that I've kind of surrendered to the fact that I don't have things figured out. And I think there's a lot of power in that.
Yes.
I think it allows for your self-awareness to grow when you live life with a curiosity of, I don't know.
Yeah.
And being able to say you don't know, or being able to even change your mind, and being able to not being stuck in your ways and looking to others for advice. That's where that stems from. I think just a curiosity about how to do things the best way.
Absolutely. Life gets hard, right? We talk about that, and I think for kids that are young and no matter what circumstances that they're in, being present in the moment is huge, and not trying to speed up to be an adult. We all have these moments in our life that get loud, they get crazy, they get really hard, they get dark, they get deep. Can you touch a little bit on how do you check in with yourself when life does get dark or loud, or really like your boat is rocky right now? Talk about what that looks like.
It sucks in a way that, self-healing and self-progress isn't linear. Like just because you had a great week and you did all the things you were supposed to do, you're not going to start from here. It's not going to continue to go up. I think I've accepted that a little bit more. I think that I'm still dealing with it on a daily basis, and by no means am I figuring it out.
Absolutely.
Like I said, anchoring myself in the things that I know are going to fill my cup. How's my health? What's my health cup like? How's my love cup like? Being solid in my relationship, with my girlfriend, or being solid in my relationship with my family. I know that when the boat gets rocky and my mind gets dark, that I have these people around me, whether it is my girlfriend, whether it is my family, pouring into them, getting out of my head, getting into my body. Those are all things that I know can bring me out of what feels like a dark space mentally, but ultimately kind of just surrendering to the fact that there is going to be shitty days. And the one thing that I'm learning now in this moment, in these last couple months, is that I need to hold space for that too.
Yes.
There needs to be space for the dark moments and the times where things are confusing, and not thinking that something's wrong with me simply because I don't feel great.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not a linear process.
Absolutely.
It comes in waves. There's seasons of life where you feel happy. There's seasons of life where you feel sad. I think it's just super important that you at least take inventory of the things that you know will get you out of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And super important.
It is. I know if Brianna shared this with you. I think I've shared this with you as well, because we learned this through therapy about vials. Vials being high, vials being low. And I think you touched on it like beautifully right there where you're talking about we all have these vials in our lives and everyone's is different. Your vials that fill you up are going to be different than mine. But I think it's really important to understand, what your vials are, whether you're in your relationship with your girlfriend, whether you're in a relationship with anyone, like me standing here across, like it's important to know your vials and then what helps you kind of level up. For you, when did it hit like, okay, I'm good, but I need to level up? What are some things that like maybe either motivated you or had those like, we call it mirror moments where you're like, okay, I'm comfortable, but I'm too comfortable. It's time for Aaron to level up.
That's a really, really good question. I think there's like checkpoints in life, like you said, like after college, after high school, after college, that moment of like basketball isn't the thing, isn't the vehicle anymore that's gonna get me to where I wanna get to, was a moment of like, I gotta get my shit together a little bit. I gotta, wake up early. Maybe I'm not taking 3-hour naps in the middle of the day because I'm in college.
Sure.
That was a moment. I think stepping into a bigger leadership role and then ultimately understanding the impact, I think about 2 years ago was when I really understood the impact that I can have and we have on this next generation. And when you feel that, you feel called to be the very best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
And like, I think I took a lot of ownership with leadership. In terms of
for sure
educating myself on how's the best way I can lead the group, how's the best way I can help lead a business in a certain direction, how's the best way I can lead a basketball team to find a common goal of winning a game and getting better and developing. I think that self-awareness is super important of just like understanding the moment you're in. I am in a very blessed position. And in my position, I have a responsibility to level up. And kids look up to me. And I have a group of, family, which is really fun to work with your family. But like, we all have a responsibility to show up and be our best self. And just kind of understanding the moment has allowed me to consistently level up. And whether I'm called to do this job on this day or do this job on this day, I'm gonna show up and do it.
Let's go full circle moment. As a young 6-year-old, who would have thought EBC was here, right? You go through your high school career, there's no way in the world you're thinking like, I'm gonna go to EBC and have this huge impact, right? You go through college, maybe there's some trinkles of brain thoughts where you're like, oh, maybe this is an option, but now you're here, full circle. Like, you have seen this place from literally the ground and where it is today, and you are a massive part of that. And the beauty is that like you've done it in all different ways, right? It's not just one way you've done it. Been the player, the athlete, the person we all looked up to, the person that we all wanted all of our EBC players to emulate is you. But now you're training at EBC, you're doing all these things for the next generation, which has been phenomenal to watch you do those things. What does that mean to you personally?
It's heavy in a great way. It's that feeling you get when you know you're living your purpose. And it's a feeling that's hard to describe sometimes. And it's a feeling that you feel when you're out in the neighborhood or you're out in the grocery store and a parent comes by and says, oh, hey, coach, so-and-so was just talking about you. And like those moments right there are why I do what I do. Or the high school kid that can shoot me a text that played for me 3 years ago that says, hey, I'm struggling with this right now. Do you have any advice? And it's the players that like, you've made an impact that you don't even know you've impacted. And I love training and I love coaching and I love being in the moments and I love being in the heat of the moment. But in the heat of the moment and in those moments, there's not much time to reflect on why you're doing what you're doing and what you're doing. And like, I'm just coaching. I want to win this basketball game. I don't care how we do it. Like, let's win this basketball game. Or, I'm breaking apart of the footwork of a seventh grader who's trying to work on their game. I'm
Yeah.
not really thinking about what I'm doing. We're just doing it. But then when I sit back and reflect, it's like I'm speechless in the sense that I get to do this for a living. And like the impact that I have is as big as it is. And to think that, you know, the business or the gym or the club, the culture, the community that I was a part of as a fifth grader is now the one that I'm able to help grow.
Yes.
It's special.
Yeah.
It's special.
Well, you're special. So I also want people to understand when they do, like I said, a lot of people look up to you. You're an uncle to four of Brianna and I's kids. They all look up to Uncle Aaron. And I want people to know when they do get the opportunity to be under your umbrella, what do you want players to take away from that experience the most?
I think it's super important, and I have confidence in you asking anyone that's played for me. I think it's important that they understand that they are loved unconditionally. I think it's important that they understand I am their biggest cheerleader. I think trust brings the best out of players. I think confidence brings the best out of players. And if you can really fill them with those two things, they are going to be the best version of themselves.
Yes.
And I'm going to be the biggest cheerleader. I'm going to hold them accountable. But ultimately, I told my high school guys this last summer because it was a group that I had coached for a long time. And, you know, there was emotion behind that of, you know, maybe I don't get to see them next summer. But my goal as a coach and our goal when we do this thing is I could care less how many names we put on the collegiate wall.
Absolutely.
But what matters is them being able to walk through the doors and say, hey, coach, I'm in town.
Yeah.
Or shooting me a text of, hey, coach. And like that level of impact is why I coach. And that feels the best.
I love it. I love it. As your brother-in-law, I always take the in-law out because that's not a thing for us. We are brothers. I've watched you grow for, again, 20 plus years. What's something about you that just hasn't changed?
I think it's important I shout out Coach Mike Kelly, just in terms of my whole journey, because he's the first person I thought of when you asked me that. Someone that I played for at Seattle Prep, someone who I have a very strong relationship. I coached his kids. It's been a really, really near and dear relationship to my heart. But he wrote in my book my senior year, and he said, you have a kid-like energy and you have a kid-like presence. Don't ever let it go away. And I think that for me, at times, I can be a little too serious, but there is a kid-like spirit.
Yes.
And there is a don't take anything too serious. And there is a, okay, everything's gonna fall into place.
Yeah.
Don't sweat the little things. And that's something that I think has never changed in me. I'm gonna laugh in opportune times.
For sure.
I'm gonna make jokes out of things. I'm gonna try to keep the spirit of a room high.
Yeah.
And I think that has stuck with me to this day.
Absolutely. What's something about you that has changed that people would be surprised by?
To a fault, something I think I've tried to work on is I think I carry I have it figured out.
Yeah.
I think I carry I want to make sure everyone knows that I have my stuff together. And I think there's a little bit of perfectionist in all of us.
Absolutely.
And I think that, you know, others may see that I have that. But one thing I have started to realize is that it's okay to not. And I don't have it figured out. And I might ask for help. And I'm not going to carry myself like I do know everything. And I'm going to ask for help when it comes to things that I don't know. And rather than trying to put this arm around myself that I know everything, I'm going to ask. And I think that's something that I've worked on recently. I think it's something that people need to know, that like I'm ultimately as curious as anything and that I'm open for any type of help.
Yeah. You've shared a lot about family and growth and a lot of very beautifully well-spoken things about your journey. How has your family shaped your growth, your confidence, and your overall values and who you are today?
I think I have everyone on my family tattooed on me. Like, there is no me without that circle.
Yeah.
You being there for me at such a young age, Brianna, Kayla, my mom, my grandma, you know, my dad.
Yeah.
The people that I call family, Jordan, Colin. There's so many people in my life that love me And it took me a long time to realize that that didn't come conditionally.
Yeah.
I think the identity piece of basketball made me realize, or made me feel, I had to perform well. I had to be worth something to be loved. And I think, especially as I do the work, in my later years of 26 and 27, I understand that my family loves me because I'm me. And that has meant so much to me, and that has allowed me to be confident in myself. It's allowed me to realize that no matter what happens, that I have this group of people who care about my well-being. And I think that it's important to note that not everyone has that. And it's important to note that I wouldn't have accomplished any of the things that we've talked about without that group of people.
I love it. As we kind of close here, we always ask either the audience, yourself, what does purpose over points mean to you?
For me, I've touched on so many different aspects of what this really means to me. I think it's important for young athletes to know that the human of them, the person that they are, is loved regardless of how they're performing. And I think it's important for anyone playing any sort of sport that your identity is who you are and how you show up. It's not the player. It's not the points that you score. It's not the games that you win. It's who you are and who you're becoming through that journey.
Yes.
Regardless of the vehicle.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of kids are listening, but a lot of adults listen. And we all have, again, these up and down moments. But for anyone that's listening, what kind of advice would you give to people who are struggling with, whether it's identity, confidence, pressures? What kind of message would you want to tell them today?
It's important to get outside of yourself. It's important not to think that you need to be the person that figures it out. It's important to lean on your parents. It's important to lean on your teammates. It's important to lean on your coaches. They're there for a reason. And I think there's not enough dialogue and discussion about the community that you're putting your kid in. And that's why we do what we do. It's like EBC is this community. You're here for a reason. You need to lean on this community.
Yes.
You're not supposed to have it figured out.
Absolutely. My last question for you is, when it's all said and done, what do you want Aaron Nettles' legacy to be?
I think I want people to understand who I am. I think they need to understand that I'm here out of pure love. I think that there's no accolade that I'm chasing.
Absolutely.
I want to impact this next generation of leaders the best I can. And ultimately, I want to continue to take this ship that is EBC and take it as big as we possibly can and impact as many lives as we possibly can.
Absolutely. For those that are watching, thank you. For those that are listening, thank you. But more importantly, thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
There was a ton of information that you get to see this young man's walk from a young kid to now an adult. But I think what the beautiful thing is with your story, there's so many things that happen through your life that you've connected the same dots. It may not look the same, but you have, from the day you were raised and you were born, your parents have installed something into you that continues to be who you are. And I think it's important for people to understand what that is, especially for myself as a parent, what you pour into your kids and how important it is at an early age to install those things. Because what you have done, all the credit to you, yeah, you got a little bit of a blueprint, but you decided to take the blueprint and you said, I'm going to dive into who I am. I'm going to do what's best for me. And I'm going to start figuring out, stacking my days. I'm going to start winning days. And the self-confidence that you have is incredible. Again, I'm super blessed to call you my brother. I'm very lucky. Anyone who's listening, I know for a fact, wishes that they had a brother like you that's extremely intelligent. I know like I've mentioned before, your sister Brianna obviously means the world to me, but you mean the world to her, and I know you have that relationship that's beautiful to see between a brother and a sister. My kids love you. They look up to you. They are extremely lucky to have you as an uncle. You're going to be a great father someday when that time comes.
Thank you.
You are an incredible uncle, and I love you to death. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here.
Love you, brother.